and I think they only let us charge like 20 for wired and wireless both.
Wow.
We knew going in it was a sunk cost.
Yes, yes.
So this just kind of shows, this is where a lot of the media is starting to set up. This is actually 2 days beforehand, okay?
So who handled all of that stuff? This is a little off topic, but in terms of, because I've been to DU and it's tight, not a lot of places to park and stuff.
Right.
Who handled the infrastructure?
There's a gentleman by the name of Alan Wilson that works, he's like our program manager for the facilities department. He handled the allocation of event space, he handled the parking, he handled all this kind of stuff, but he worked closely with the CPD and the media. I mean, we had media meetings just on and on and on. When we send a rep, we actually sent our project manager to those meetings as well, because every time they made a change, it impacted.
So when media trucks showed up, you knew exactly which person was gonna park in which spot?
Yeah, absolutely. We had it diagrammed out. We knew exactly where the media where we allocated their seats, and it's actually the CPD that dictates that. So once we had the layout, when they knew, and the media had to sign up front and get credentials. So once they went through that process, we knew who was going to be there. But they were last minute, day of. And people, oh yeah, we're here. So this.
20%.
So this is kind of shows them building the stage, and this is actually in Magnus Arena where we play hockey. They would not let us keep the ice in there. Okay, even though this was on a stage, they were worrying about the candidates getting cold. So first of all, it turned out to be a pretty warm day, and it got really hot in the arena, and it would have been very comfortable had they allowed, because our HVAC system, we tried to explain this, they didn't listen. The HVAC systems in the Magnus Arena are designed and built knowing that there's a slab of ice on the floor. It has an impact on the ambient temperature, right? So, we have people in there all the time. We have concerts on the floor. We have speakers on the floor. The guys play basketball on the floor. There's not an issue. But they wouldn't listen to it. Our facilities team were upset because, and we'll talk about this a little later, after the debate, we had 48 hours to prepare for a hockey match. 48 hours.
How do you create a slab of ice in 48 hours?
Yeah.
You use a Zamboni to put ice, to put water down, and it has to freeze.
Turn the AC way down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's right.
So literally, I think there were at least 12 of these. There might have been a couple more they added toward the end. Okay, so tons of power everywhere. And inside, there were smaller ones that they could actually use inside. So up on that second level of the media filing center, these were all over the place. So everything was on backup power. Yeah, I mean, literally, they brought these things in with Humvees and a lot of the media vehicles, some on vans and stuff like that. These guys know how to do their job. This is kind of what it looked like. This was after the debate, so this was kind of what we called Spin Alley. This is where the 5 major networks had booths set up. This is where they're doing, when you cut in and they cut between it, they're doing the analysis, what they thought. Obama hadn't recovered from altitude sickness, whatever it was. This is kind of where all that happened. It was really fascinating.
You can't forget where you're at.
That's right.
DU.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
True, right?
Every
So, from a scope stand, this was probably one of the greatest challenges. Was really just kind of around the scope changing, but we started with a very nebulous set of specs. This is what you pay for. You pay them your $1.65 million. They give you this big thick book, but it's pretty generic, right? We started with that VADE contract at sometime around the March timeframe is when we got that. So that's about 7 months and 8 months and counting, something like that. Then we had more detailed visits around the May-June timeframe. So it literally, further we got, the more detailed that it actually got. The Secret Service changed a lot of our scope and plan, and the Secret Service changed the floor plan. Okay, now changing a floor plan's a problem. Especially, they didn't change the media filing center so much, but they changed where we could bring our network feeds in, because believe it or not, and this is one thing I didn't realize, they are responsible for protecting the internet infrastructure for the debate. They're watching where the connections come in to make sure that somebody doesn't tap into it or try to sabotage it. Didn't realize that. That's a great thing, But literally, we had to
Yeah.
rethink some of our physical infrastructure plans, okay? And then, of course, we, as we scheduled more events, music, the outdoor fest and stuff, we had to change scope
What kind
there.
of changes did they force you to make? If
We
you
had
can talk about that without
Right,
being shot.
sure.
Killing me.
No.
See a red dot?
The first thing they changed was they changed the location of both the campaign offices. They moved it closer to the interior of the building. At that point, we had already started wiring those areas, so we had to rethink it. Now, as it turns out, they put the CPD office in one of those spaces that they vacated. Right, so it wasn't a huge issue, but we did have to adjust. Another was they changed where we were gonna bring our fiber optic feed in, and we had already started putting a conduit system in.
So are they like watching IDFs and so on?
Well, yes, they are. And they have keys to everything, obviously. But they were in the planning meetings with us, so they kind of knew what was going on. And we had a set of prints that we would share. They had them. They'd make changes. We'd republish them to everyone so we could adjust and stuff. And literally, it was like weekly changes.
A network job for the Secret Service.
Yep, kinda.
Uh,
Their thought is, it's not whether the infrastructure is working, but can they keep it from being sabotaged was really kind of what their thought process was. Again, we had service changes all the way into day zero. So we actually used our ServiceNow system. Everyone knows ServiceNow. It's like a IT service management ticketing system. And so we were tracking all this, which kind of made sense. The media outlets, sometimes what they gave me was very basic information and it changed. Sometimes it was very, very detailed. It just depended on who the media outlet was. And our thought was just assume it's going to change, right? So this is an example of C-SPAN rolling up. We had it set up where they could connect to the shared network. C-SPAN shows up and said, no, we're gonna build our own. That's a scope change, right? We're gonna build our own. So what I instructed our team to do is let the CPD handle it. We got other things to do, right? And they did. They built their own network, and then they just got a pipe from CenturyLink to kind of feed out. We just paid CenturyLink for that. It's like, okay, whatever. Has anyone ever seen these? So the media have these backpacks, and they're dual mode backpacks. If they're just out and about, it'll channelize 8 cell channels through the 4G, 3G, or 4G system, and that's how they communicate. It just bonds them together. Don't quite understand how the technology works, but they can also plug into a local internet as well. So a lot of the media showed up with these, and I don't get it. The media's cheap. I'm sorry, the members of the media, they're cheap. They complained about the $20 connection fee.
Oh my God.
So a lot of them wanted to do their own, and finally I just put my foot down and said no. I just said no. And I said, it's here, it's for you. You have, if there's something here that you need that we don't have, let me know and we'll see what we can do, but no, you're gonna use this. So, but this guy was one I made sure I got a picture of it because he was just gonna connect through this. And you know what? I told him, I said, I cannot guarantee any cell services. Because at the start of this, we contacted Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, all kind of the big wireless carriers and said, listen, here's the event, here's the dates, up to you. 1 of 4 brought in a DAS and basically kind of brought it up. Now, having said that, Sprint and Verizon have amplifiers, antennas on campus. And the one that brought one in did not. So, and one just decided, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So we told the media, it was actually on the rate card. We have no guarantees for 3G, 4G access. Wi-Fi, wired networking will be available. So that's, at some point you just have to kind of draw. I don't want to be responsible for the carriers anyway, So anyway, from an outcome standpoint, and we're very close. I know I'm over time here.
I have until 5.
Okay, guys. I'll let you guys work that part out.
Rob, how you doing?
Oh, yeah. Kovic is here. I don't have till 5.
The PM is here.
I thought the moderator did a pretty nice job. Now, I have to say, I think the vice presidential debate was the most entertaining.
They always
But, yeah. But anyway, the whole topic was around the domestic policy, and Jim Lear did a.
So did you watch the other debates?
I watched the vice presidential and I watched the second presidential.